Good afternoon, January 28, 2016. This is CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Today is day number 6 in the week number 3. So let's get started. Welcome back to this classroom. This is day number 6. Now let's take a look at the calendar. Okay? We want you to be well informed. The academic calendar. If you look at the academic calendar, alright, so this is 2016 and this is January. So today it's the 28th. So when you look at the red number next week, this means what? You don't need to come back next week. When I actually expect to have next week's class. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you messages through the Moodle environment to inform you when you're going to submit the first assignment and what you're going to do. Well, have a happy Chinese New Year's. Don't worry much about it, but you need to work with your learning partner. Alright? So online, okay? So, but first of all, when you have to work with your learning partner online, when I check the record before I come, I discovered that this is the picture. Alright? So let me go to week number 2, Dr. Vet's Q&A online. I got the following. Alright? So I got something new. Yes, that's good. This is new. I'm going to add this. Alright, so not many of you, or better say, not all of you, have already given me your learning partner's information. Now, if you have not given me your learning partner's information, it's very difficult for you to get your first assignment done with the help of your learning partner. So, make sure before the end of today, you will give me your learning partner's information. And the way to give it to me is very simple. You just go to Dr. Vet's Q&A online, click on this link, and add a discussion thread called My Learning Partner, and you give me the name and student ID of your learning partner together with your name. Okay? When you have done this, you should be able to check on this particular page the situations of your pairing. For example, Johnson has not given me the learning partner's information. You still do not belong to any pair yet. And you need to do it again. But Star has given me, so Star is associated with pair number 3. Ken, you have not given me. Terry is associated with pair number 3. Iris, you have not given me the information. Andy, you have not given me the information. Christina, not yet. Gabriella, not yet. Sonia, not yet. Tina, not yet. Cleo, not yet. Joey, not yet. Winnie, not yet. Yu White, not yet. CeeLo, not yet. Nicholas, not yet. Okay. Gala, pair number 2. Blue, pair number 5. Karim, not yet. Ming Qian, not yet. This is Aoyang, not yet. Man Ho, not yet. Steve, not yet. Levine, not yet. Serenia, pair number 4. And King Hong, pair number 1. Yin Fai, pair number 1. Su Ying, pair number 2. Then is Maria, pair number 6. Wing Tong, pair number 6. Karen, pair number 7. And Yu Shen, not yet. So you have Yoga, pair number 5. Gambo, pair number 7. Runzi, not yet. Ada, pair number 4. Steve, not yet. Jia, not yet. Han, not yet. Hannah, not yet. So for those of you who have not given me the pair information, I give you some time during this class for you to negotiate to have a learning partner, alright? So before that, let me pass the time to those who would like to share today. If you look at the sharing schedule, it's of week number 2, okay, right here. Today we have number of speakers. Let's take a look at that. top to bottom. Day number 6. The first one is Gambo. You're the first speaker. Let's see, this is Gambo's outline of the speech. And then we have Ada, who's the second speaker. Yoga, the third speaker. And then, let's see, Serenia, the fourth speaker. And then Sonia, the third speaker. Okay, Star, again, you're the third speaker, so you have two third speaker. All right, so let's pass the time to Gambo. Yeah.
First.
Yes. Go from top to the bottom. Are you ready?
Okay, I think I'm going to be the second one.
Oh, you should be the second. The Star should be the first one.
Yeah.
Okay, Star, you're the first one. Okay? And we are going to get, make sure everybody got a chance today. Which please come up here. I'll pass you the microphone. Now, the rule of thumb. Listen very carefully. When one of your classmates is speaking, we pay respect to your classmate by paying attention. Make sure you can talk after that. 5 minutes, stop.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today I would like to introduce
Speak into the mic.
what is information piracy. Nowadays, many people use the internet, right? What do? They surf the internet, sign up some website and forms, buy some, get some website and get something from the internet. And if this action, people need to feel their policy. However, there are many illegal websites to cheat and hack the privacy. The victim might lose their property or their data might be used illegally. At first, what is information piracy? Well, according to the definition of Wikipedia, information piracy is the relationship between collecting and dissemination of data, energy, and proper exploitation of privacy, and the legal and potential issues surrounding that. Of course, it's not only the application of the internet such as email, Facebook, QQ, WeChat app, but also private data and documents, like some paper, right? There are many types of information, which are internet, TV, medical care, fitness, location, politics, education, and let me talk about what is the information of location and politics. Nowadays, GPS is installed in most of smartphones, and there is a function to show the user's location in QQ. Some governments in the world want to control the people in their country. If the requirement like smartphone or computer was hacked, the computer will be stolen, and the location of users will be discovered and punished equally. And some governments will get the anti-government information and the user will be put in the jail. The new type of account resident ID card is confident, right? Resident put the card on the reader, and the data can be quickly as octopus in Hong Kong. However, it can be considered as a risk of information privacy. There are lots of essential data in the ID card, and the acceptable distance of some reader can be very long, and almost 10 meters. If the resident can join some anti-government activity, the data will be collected and added to the blacklist of the government. Finally, please protect the information privacy seriously. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, staff, for giving us your prepared speech. Now we are going to pay respect to the speaker by reserving at least 1 minute for question and answer. Okay? If you have questions for staff, you can raise your questions now by raising your hand and asking staff the question. And of course, remember, you can always engage staff with the conversations by going to this link and clicking on reply to staff's sign up. Okay? Staff, you also need to go there and make sure you type in the information of your sharing today. Okay?
I'm upload one.
Yes, thank you. Okay, if you do not have any questions for that, I would like to thank you, staff, for your sharing today. It's very interesting, concise, and neat, and it's a very good practice for you to learn how to speak in front of your fellow students, right? So the second speaker is Gambo, okay? Gambo is on the same table with staff. You have 5 minutes time. You are a very tall man.
Okay,
Thank you, Gambo.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Basically, I have a list here, and which is my speaking list. Actually, if you don't want to listen to me, you just look at this list, and I think it's quite enough. So to make it not so complicated, I would like to give an example at the first time. I have 2 examples. So I'm going to talk about the CSR, which is corporate social responsible. So there's an interesting example of Durex. So do you guys know Durex? Recently in India, Durex is doing some promotion to make it more widely used in India. We know that there's a lot of crime, there's a lot of sexual crime or something like that. It's in a bad environment in India. So right now, in recent 10 years, the Durex is doing something in India, and to make the cotton more widely used in India, and which lead to a really good results that India become a little bit better in the several aspects. So this is an example of the company. This is the example of company doing something for the society. So basically, it's affecting the company, and it's making something good for the society, for the Indian society, and even for the world. So this is a really good example of the corporate social responsible, which is CSR. And here we can see there's a source on the top, and it's a YouTube video. You can have a look at this explanation about the CSR. Nowadays, a lot of companies set their corporate objective as the social responsible. They want to take some responsibility to improve the society so that their company can be better, so that their customers can can appreciate the company better. So in modern society, the CSR is a really essential part for the company to raise up their company and to communicate with their customers. Here's two questions basically for the CSR. The first one is, what is company for? What is business for? I think everyone can think about these questions. So business, we maybe think that business is for business. Business is just for making money. Do you also think so? If the business is only for the making money, why do we have the responsibility for the society? Nowadays, if one company can only make money instead of thinking about their customers and instead of thinking about the society, they may not exist. They may not be accepted by the customers. So that we have the CSR, so that we have the corporate social responsible to make the company or make the business better accepted by the society. And also another point is that the society and business are interdependent. There's a more elaborated explanation in that video to explain the third one. I will not say too much about that. And also it's a product of the modern society. So basically I would conclude that the corporate social responsibility is very essential for the company in modern society nowadays, and it's also essential for our society. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Gambo. Now it's a 1 minute wait, question and answer for Gambo. If you have questions after listening to Gambo's speech or sharing, it's that 1 minute you can raise your question and then we could help facilitate the discussions. Okay? Yes, you have a question.
Can you give us an example about the corporate social responsibility in Macau?
Oh, in Macau. Oh, okay. Good question. Let me think about it a little bit.
Maybe in China.
I think the buses of the casinos is that one example. I think it's let me just raise it up and you can decide whether it's a good example or not. I think the buses, which is free for us to take of the casinos, those buses, not necessarily we have to go into the casino so that we can take the bus. We can take the bus freely, right? So I think it's doing something good to our society, and Macau residents and our students can benefit from that buses. So maybe I think it's a little bit doing something for the society. And that's my example, but it's maybe not good. Yeah.
Star?
Do you think he said enough?
What?
He said enough?
Is it enough? Oh, okay. I come to Macau only for 4 months, so I don't know too much about this. Maybe there's still some conflict inside, I think, and maybe doing so, maybe some residents think this is not enough, but I cannot give more information. Sorry.
Remember, we can continue the conversations online. What you need to do is just click on the reply link on Gambo's particular posting, and then you can continue. I think it's a very good question because one of the 7 points mentioned in the video on CSR is good business for good society. Now, the question is it the intentions of the gambling business to use the bus to allow any persons in Macau to ride on it free of charge for any purpose? But normally they would say these are for collecting customer into my hotel or collecting customer into my casino. So it's a very interesting line, we can say. All right, we thank you very much for Gambo's sharing. It's very interesting to learn something from Gambo's interpretation. Now, let's see who's the first speaker. Let's go to see Let's see, Karen, no. Ada, are you the first speaker today? Ada? Yes. Could you please come up here? I'll pass you the microphone. Now remember, after your speech, make sure you go back to this link, edit it to include what you share today, okay? So that everybody could have a good picture of your learning.
Today I want to talk about information technology. As we all know, information technology is the application of computers and telecommunications intended to store, retrieve, transmit, and manipulate data, often in the context of a business or other enterprise. The term is commonly used to represent computers and computer networks, but it also encompasses other information distribution technologies such as television and telephones. Several industries are associated with information technology, including computer hardware, software, electronics, networking, and database design. Interactions between individuals have been enhanced by the development of information technologies. New channels of communication have been opened between people in the last 30 years. As other developments occurred, such as the widespread availability of modems and personal computers became more widespread. The general population was integrated into what is known as the Internet. Individuals then have the ability to interact with other individuals through such developments as email, chat rooms, and the internet. In an academic context, the Association for Computing Machinery defines IT as undergraduate degree programs that prepare students to meet the computer technologies of business, governments, healthcare, schools, and other kinds of organizations. In a business context, the Information Technology Association of America has defined information technology as the study, design, development, application, and implementation, support, or management of computer-based information systems. So IT is very vital to us, and it is necessary for us to know about it.
Thank you, Ada. Would you please stay for at least 1 minute for question and answer? If you have heard Ada's speech very carefully, she has made several interesting points in the context of IT in our modern society. Do you have any question for Ada? Or just waste another concern which would help us to understand much better? You have 60 seconds to think and then to waste your questions. Ada, would you please make sure at the end of your speech you go back to that link, type up something of your sharing today. Okay, we thank you very much. We're waiting for further enhancement of the sharing when you provide the records of your sharings today. This will help us to take a good look at the class-by-class sharings of our students, our fellow students. Okay, so after Ada, let's check who is the next speaker. We have many speakers today. Yoga. Are you here, Yoga? Thank you, Yoga. We'll pass you the microphone to make sure it works. All right? It's Yoga.
Yes, I'm Yoga, and today my topic is about the differences between knowledge society and the industrial society and the information society. The knowledge society is a society where knowledge applied to knowledge becomes a new value creation process. A knowledge society generates, shares, and makes available for all members of the society knowledge that may be used to improve the human condition. And knowledge society is different from the industrial society. Industrial society The value is created by objects, and the tool is a machine. And the development direction is to be more and bigger. And it can be measured by finance, and it is inclusive. And knowledge society the value is created by knowledge, and the tool is human brain and networks. The direction is higher quality, it is intangible and inclusive. A knowledge society is also different from an information society. Knowledge society serves to transform information into resources that allow society to take effective action, and information society only creates and disseminates the raw data. Information is already sorted by the search engine, but knowledge is digested by human brain. The skill to gather and analyze information has existed throughout human history. However, the idea of the present-day knowledge society is based on the rapid increase in data creation and information dissemination that result from the innovation of information technology. So today we are in knowledge society. If we want to develop, we need to be a lifelong learner, and we need to adapt continuously to change the opportunities, work practices, and some forms of economic and social organizations.
Thank you. Would you please stay for at least 1 minute? It's a very interesting speech done by Yoga. Have you heard about the context of this speech? Starting from the information society to the knowledge society, and then the characteristic of knowledge society compared to the industrial revolutions. A lot of very interesting things, and you must have done a lot of reading in order to get this course. And have you thought about what is meant by knowledge society that I invite you to think about? Well, when we come back after the Chinese New Year's, definitely, I'm going to introduce to you something called the knowledge management cycle. All right? So I thank you very much, Yoga, for your speech today. Thank you. You did a good job. All right? So after Yoga, it is Serenia. Are you here, Serenia? Oh, thank you very much. All right? So we're going to make sure that you can speak into the microphone. It works. So just make sure you hold the microphone like this, because it's on video. All right? Thank you very much, Serena.
Presentation topic is information security. Nowadays, many people will shop online and like the travel and the TikTok and so on. But when we post anything in the internet, we would expose our personal information. So if we are not paying attention to just the verbiage, so we are easy to be security. And it is a truly example for me. Last year I bought a t-shirt in the Taobao, and after one day, a woman called me. She knows my everything and like my name and the phone number and what thing and that I bought. So I believed her, and she told me the charity without the success. So I need to give her money one more time. Finally, because some reason I don't give her the money, but the t-shirt is arrived. So in that time I know I mostly be charity.
Oh, it's very scary. Okay.
And also, many people from China can use the Google and the YouTube and Instagram and so on. So they will download some VPNs to help them. But those VPNs are not actually safe. So maybe others would cache our information to do some practice. Information security is very important for our life. Practice our information better, we can reduce the chances of being
Thank you. Would you please stay for 1 minute, Serena? Would you please stay for 1 minute? Have you heard the message that Serena has just shared with us her experience with Taobao? And a very interesting phenomenon that someone, after you have purchased something from Taobao, call her, right? And looks like that someone knows every private information that you have already given to Taobao. Do you have similar experience yourself? Do you have similar experience yourself? It's very scary. Fortunately, you did not fall into the trap, okay? You know you're sensitive enough not to be cheated, but in some way, it's very on the brink of being cheated, right? So we thank you very much for this sharing. We look forward for more sharing by individual students. Thank you very much. Let me double check on the camera. Yes, it's very important. Your recording is very important because you can watch it online and then you can use the same for learning something more. All right, so let me check if we have speakers. We have the first one, Star, second Gamble, and the third one is over there, Ada. The fourth one is Yoga. The fifth one is Serenia. So we have one more speaker at least. We can accommodate. Let's see. Sonia, are you here? Sonia? I didn't want to say. Not today. Okay. But you have to sign up again, okay? After the New Year holiday. So let's see. All right. So this is Sonia. This is Serenia. This is Yoga. This is Ada. And this is done. All right. Let's say Gamble is finished. Okay, good. Now let's get back to our class today. What are we going to learn today before the holiday? And this is week number 3. And remember, we introduced to you the idea of ethics and social responsibility, including CSR last class. Today we're going to introduce to you the idea of a digital divide. Okay, what is meant by a digital divide? Well, a divide means it's a big gap here which divides something from other things. And we have to know what that something is. Typically speaking, we say that something is those people who have something and those people who do not have something. Okay, the haves and the have-nots. The divide helps us to divide the haves and the have-nots. But what is meant by digital divide? In the internet age, the digital divide gap means in the world we have different people, basically 2 categories of people. The first categories are the people who knows how to use computer, who have the knowledge to use computer, and who have the computer to use and who have the internet access to use. And on the other side, we have people who have nothing, who does not have the knowledge to use computer, who does not have a computer, who does not have internet access to use the computer. So the digital divide gap tells us we need to be aware of different people living in the world, even though today we have the computer and the internet to use. Okay, so let's try to impact ourselves with a better idea of what is a digital divide by going to this video.
Divide is more about people that have access to computing and related technologies as opposed to people that don't.
You know, contracts are probably the greatest problem that cities find. They're difficult to understand. There's so much small print.
You can't make contact with these people because they're in buildings up above our level, and you can't just get access to the building. You have to phone them.
Remote communities are invariably communications poor. There are no banks in remote communities, there are no post offices, there aren't shopping centres. There's not all of these things that we take for granted in cities and towns.
If you think about a lot of services like banking, telecommunications, other industries are all really going more high-tech and basing themselves entirely on And there could be for banking systems now, it's going to actually see someone is going to cost you money. Not having any access to communications, like things like a landline or an internet service provider, or even a mobile phone, has a really big effect on people who are homeless. So often a mobile can be the only form of communication that people have with their family. And if you're on that street, that can be a real lifeline.
The thing I miss the most is having that contact once a week, or a couple of times a week with my older brother. We were able to use a chat program and send photos of my new cousins and my new nephews and nieces and stuff. Not having that contact now, I miss it quite a bit. So I'm endeavouring to get that all squared away, but it's not an easy task.
Ever seen you can't have some connection to family and friends? They tend to feel very isolated, and that's not a nice feeling. Communication is vitally important to everybody.
Social media is one of the really important innovations recently. It's always been really beneficial to mainstream populations. What social media offers people is the opportunity to overcome really profound skill issues such as mobility. So the fact that you can have things on social media where you can all meet online, it's easy to keep track of people, you can have communication through things like Skype for free. It's just opens up a whole new world.
Invariably, the services that are put in are controlled by non-Indigenous people, and it relies on their goodwill to basically provide access to Indigenous people to use them.
Because computers and the internet are so such visual in nature, because they do depend so much on the ability to easily interact with the interface, people with disabilities can find that particularly challenging. There's about 4 million Australians with some form of permanent disability, about 20%. So we're talking about quite a lot of people, and this is one of the things that's a bit surprising why accessibility is such a big issue, because ultimately when people put things on the web, put things on the internet, they really want the population to experience their hard work or maybe their product. And to think that 1 in 5 Australians may be disadvantaged in getting access to that's a lot of people.
We really need to do a lot more about helping seniors to get online. There's only about 25% at the moment who are actually online, and so we need to make it easier for them. And one of the things that restricts a senior from being involved online is a lack of knowledge about it, a fear. So there needs to be good information out there that enables seniors to understand what the implications of being on the internet are, what the advantages are, and the things that they need to be aware of.
Broadband and internet access, I think that's critical to be able to continue to learn beyond schooling, to have access to internet banking, to have access to the same sort of communication tools that all other Australians have.
It's just the day-to-day of the things that we take for granted, like things like internet banking, or for someone who's farmers dealing with housing, dealing with settling.
There is a high uptake, but the cost is prohibitive. It becomes a major expense out of it for people on very low income.
I think telecommunications providers and banking institutions need to also provide very good providing by making sure that these devices can be used by people with disabilities.
Taking those little things for granted, they are a big thing in the homeless sector. The contact is a very important thing.
So communication is just a lifeline.
Here we go. If I were to summarize a little bit, bridging the digital divide gap, it's our responsibility. Now, how are we going to bridge the digital divide gap? Who are the people who need help? The first thing you might want to know is, I might need to find out the situations of concern about digital divide gap in Macau. How many people in Macau needs help? Why? All right. Now this video is produced for Australian people. And in the video, one statement struck me very much. It said, 1 in 5 Australian is going to lose communications with their family member or others related to their family banking or whatever it is because of the digital divide gap. 1 in 5. Now, Australia is not a poor country indeed. It's relatively wealthy. Okay, let's take a look at Hong Kong. I studied the story a couple of years ago, and it turns out that it's a very meaningful story. About 10 years ago, it was reported that about 15 to 20% of the families in Hong Kong, 15 to 20% of the family in Hong Kong are living under the poverty line. That means the kids of those families could not afford to have the computer they need to study at home. They cannot afford to have the internet access they need to use with the computer. But education system in Hong Kong are increasingly electronic. That means teacher will always give homework in such a way that the students have to go home and complete the homework and then turn in the homework online. Now it turns out that activities of learning like these are quite meaningful, but it's a big problem for those families who cannot have a computer at home. The kids do not have the facility to learn online, and so it becomes a big problem. So the government thought, what if we can offer some kind of help to those families? And they divide the Hong Kong particular Kowloon into 2 regions, and they entrust 2 specific organizations, the non-profit making organizations, to help children. One company on this side, the other company on the other side. And one of the specific organizations, they call it social enterprise, is called Web Organic. Okay? The missions of Web Organic is they would like to ensure that every kid in Hong Kong, particularly, regardless of the background, will be able to go online and learn something wonderful that could change the living, change the life forever. Because if you have the ability, if you have a chance to go online, you can see the world through the internet. You can discover knowledge on your own. Now, what if you cannot have a computer because of the family predicament? You do not have internet access because it's high cost. So that social enterprise create a program and invite those families to join. They say, as long as you can afford $100 per month for your child's studying, we're going to give you a brand new computer of the latest model with the highest end of internet access, not free of charge, just for $100 of 1 month. And if there is anything wrong with your computer, we'll change the computer for you. You just need to continue to pay $100, it's okay. And so, they reduce the percentage of family who cannot afford to buy a computer for their kids to study at home from 15 to 20% to only 2 to 3% in 5 to 6 years' time. And then the government of Hong Kong said, well, it's good enough, we can stop the program. And the company said, no, we still have 2 to 3% of those families we need to help. Because if we stop now, 2 to 3% of the family is going not be able to afford a computer for the kids. And so the government said, okay, let's continue, but in another way. But the second thing came, now that the family have the computer and internet access, but the family members do not have the knowledge to use the computer with the internet access. Okay? So, and it's going to be expensive to go to learn something in a specific course. So the question comes, that organizations come up with an idea, what if we recruit volunteer from our university students community, and we send our recruitment for volunteer tutor to all the universities in Hong Kong, and they recruit volunteers, university students, to join, and then each student is going to tell how many hours per week are you willing to help those families, and then how many days you're willing to help them. And then once the matching comes up, for each family who are in need, there will be a free tutor, a university student, coming to the house, helping the kid for 1 to 2 hours per week. And then the kids knows how to use the computer, how to use the internet access, and also learn the major lessons of information security and privacy. All right? So, what does it mean to tell you so much? The question is, to bridge the digital divide gap, the question is, what can individuals like you and me can do in help to have a good society, with people helping one another? So, having said that, we're going to come back here and show you an example of what people can do collectively, okay? Student, teacher, organizations, and service learning. Now, I know that each one of you are related to a particular residential college in which service learning is being promoted in each RC to help you understand the learning by experience. So, let me see the time. Yes, we still have some time. That's good enough. It's a piece that you should not miss.
I like service. Yeah, because a lot of people always serve me. Yeah, and so I think I have a lot of experience about service.
I would like to make this world a better place. Like, there are lots of discontent, discord in our world. But by knowing more about each other, by stepping into each other's shoes, that you can really understand their needs, their concerns, what they want, and all this can help make, by mutual understanding, you can know more about each other and help making our world a better place, a more peaceful one.
If we want to have our younger generation more fruitful and more advancing towards and being more competitive with others, we need to do more.
I like to think of service learning as the closest to a complete education.
It poses a great impact throughout my life, that changing my attitude and strengthen my belief in helping others, and also staying strong when we have difficulties.
After the service, I really pushed to continue my thinking about the problems and other things for now.
Even the service recipients, their impact will be very short. So is the learning part that the students most benefit from doing those service learning things, right?
Realization, awareness, and self-development.
Find more yourself.
Service and learning together.
When you put academic components into service and let students learn about these academic components through giving service to people.
Service learning is a way to encourage students to really to put their knowledge in practice. So the learning part is the most important.
Service learning offers students the unique opportunity to engage with the society and rethink the meaning of their study and their role in society. In this episode, we will follow Dr. Nai, Dr. Chang, and Dr. Ng in the Service Learning Project, in which students visit and teach computing skills to children in Cambodia. Dr. Nai, Dr. Chang, and Dr. Ng will also share with us their experience of teaching service learning subjects and the challenges and rewards that come with it.
Service learning is rewarding, but I do have to say it is probably the most challenging thing as a teacher. First challenge is from the student level. In general, whenever we bring students on these subjects, we always have students whose idea is to go on there as a cheap holiday and just to play. We find that the reflective essays have been a wonderful way in dealing with them.
This day seems a bit messy, but you guys make me know how to consider of others and make me know how to cooperate with you guys.
The reflection really helped us, and I really want to thank my supervisors and also their tutors. Yeah, they really help us because every night we have meetings and all that kind of thing that really help us, and they really do other kind of reflection with us when we went back to Hong Kong.
Giving them a lot of reflection to making them really think upon what they were learning, I think that actually had a very positive impact upon the motivation of our students, motivating them to actually put themselves aside and actually serve and try to learn from this experience. So can you share with us about what you have learned?
Not a result if you never try. Just in case if I cannot do it.
In the past, I was too target-oriented, like what I would like to do, what I would like to achieve. For some of the time, I may be quite reckless towards others' needs, like the service recipients' needs. I may not care too much about their needs, but through this experience that I learned that it is important for us to step into their shoes, to know more about their abilities, their needs, and to conduct their service projects in a more effective manner.
The other challenge that I can think of immediately is in terms of the challenges in terms of knowledge that we are dealing with. Another example also comes from this summer when we actually put together a project that involved bringing our students to this orphanage that was serving HIV/AIDS positive orphans. We gave a lot of training. We gave them a lot of preparation. We had doctors come in from Prince of Wales Hospital. We had the orphanage director come in to talk about the orphans and so on. They went in there within 3 seconds. They were with the kids. They were talking with the kids. They were playing with them. They were holding them. And I think that the biggest difference was the amount of preparation that we gave them.
As one of the preparation activities, students participated in a warm-up service at a local school of special education, in which they visited and played games with a group of mentally challenged kids. At the end of the service, they were given a debriefing by Dr. Nye.
Let me just ask a question about home, okay? Who was not comfortable at the beginning? The reason why we brought you here is because think about this environment. This is a very normal environment, right? Look at how clean the place is. I wonder how many of our classrooms in Encore are this clean. Now think about Cambodia. You are in a very different environment. I guarantee you it will be nowhere as clean as here. The kids will be something that you have not seen before. Some of the kids today, they were mentally challenged, but they were clean. Some of the kids in Cambodia will not be clean. Most of them will not be wearing shoes. You will not be wearing shoes. The environment will not be clean like this. There will be dust, there will be dirt everywhere, right? So in a way, the reason why we brought you here is because we want to see how you will react to the challenge of being in a situation that is not exactly something that you're used to.
Well, I'm really glad that I come and be able to observe this particular project, this class. It is obvious that Professor Grace, Stephen Chen, Professor Chen had prepared them very well. The expectation of the student need to be well prepared. I think the staff themselves need to be well prepared. I think this is one lesson that I hope, at least I learned from this experience, and I certainly will try to encourage all the staff to remember that when they start designing a surface learning course.
is actually learn how to work with each other, handle personal conflicts, handle differences of opinion, and through the process, they have to assessing each other. Sometimes you don't really need to go in and say, okay, who has been the leader? It is obvious from how they interact with each other who has been stepping up. Sometimes we put this student in as a team leader. It turns out another person is actually a much more effective leader. And this we can see because we work alongside them and we can see them. And the assessment sometimes is actually quite easy because it's quite very honest.
Then also, because we are a team, we need to know what happened during the conversation with the system.
I was just thinking about how students learn, how service learning connects to the academic discipline, and I think that one of the ways that it connects the most is that it actually lets students take whatever they were learning in the classroom and put it to real use. All of the stuff that is from pre-1 to all of a sudden starts to make sense, and that was because they actually had to understand this stuff in order to put it in place.
Most of the times in the class, we lecturer only talk about some theories, and in fact we may not know how the theory works. But when we go into the real world and we work with that theories, and we find that, oh, these theories work like that.
And in some of our other projects where we actually get students to go and teach, because we are from the Department of Computing, we ask them to go in and teach programming or something like that. And really one of the students came back and told me, said, wow, when I started preparing the lesson plans, when I started teaching, then I realized how many holes there were.
I remember in these few days I have taught my students, because I'm living in Hawaii, I taught my student about the programming. Yeah, and I really learned a lot from her, because I remember we revised the programming language because I haven't touched programming for nearly one semester. Yeah.
Through those subsequent projects, they provide the triggers, the catalyst for students to eager to learn more, and then we can offer them more afterwards. That is true. I mean, we are not saying that all the subsequent projects can fulfill all the components of either professional knowledge. That is not necessary. But that it serves as a way to initiate and motivate our students. That is more important. That is the purpose of education.
To use one's intrinsic value to bring out extrinsic force. That is fair to you. That is fair for you, but it's essential for others.
Service learning can help you fund more yourself.
I think that doing the service learning subjects are probably, even forget the subject, even the project itself is probably one of the most demanding things that I've had to deal with. I think the biggest thing is that it's one of the most satisfying things that I've ever done. It's one of the most challenging things that I've ever done, but it's also one of the most personally satisfying things. To see the students grow, to see how to actually watch them grow over the course of one summer while they are working with the projects. I remember one summer where you see the student at the beginning of the summer and you see him at the end of the summer and you're like, wow, this kid is like two different people. And then watching them, start from being just simply participation to starting to coordinate, to starting to lead, and to start to propose projects. And towards the end of his academic studies, he was actually going out and recruiting new project staff for us. And that is just so completely amazing. And I don't know, I mean, in many ways, I see our students as, okay, they're not my kids, but they're somebody else's kids. And, I'm sure that his parents will be happy to see him learning something like this. And as his teachers, it is the duty and the responsibility that society or our job has placed upon us. But at the same time, it's also just, what could be more satisfying than actually seeing us make an impact in somebody's life? Something that visible. You could teach like half a dozen subjects, get a really good SMQ, and still not see that, because students will not remember you after the subjects. But for the service learning projects. I've never had a student who went on the service learning and they could not remember me afterwards. That's not gonna happen, you know.
I think, you know, it is important. Now I'm more convinced that particularly for academic staff who have never done it before, I would strongly encourage those staff to take time to come out to one of the service learning courses to understand and experience what this is all about before you get into the planning, before you get into the designing of the course at all.
So, this is a very good piece. It's a piece for us to put some more thoughts into what is meant by our daily studies, particularly we want to apply the knowledge we have to help better our society. Now, I want to give you a simple assignment. Use this episode, the video here, to need you think about what you can do as a student. Now that you have all the opportunity with you, you live in a residential cottage, our school has a service learning program, you know something about digital divide, you also know something about the corporate social responsibility. In your RC, you can also collect people together to come up with new ideas of experiential learning. Now think about this, what can you do about the digital divide gap around you, all right? And then I hope to hear more sharings around things like this. Now since next week, we're going to have holidays, Happy Chinese New Year, but we're supposed to have our homework due at the end of the 4th week. So I'm going to send you a message, okay, by the end of this week to tell you what you're going to do. But make sure you have the learning partner. It should not be too difficult, it's just a combination of little exercise that you have done over the past 3 weeks. But first of all, allow me to bring you to this link, okay? Now keep in mind this link. In day number 1, okay, of this course, we have something called online activities. I want you to pay a visit to online activities, okay? So when you click on this link, you will be brought to a page like this. Don't worry about fall 2015, it's still applicable, okay? The 2 activities I want you to learn and get informed, because these 2 activities are what you need to do in order to get your first assignment done. The first activity is called Online Learning Journals, okay? So here we have a very simple guideline called OIA. It's indicative of the inquiry-based learning we are going through in the first 4 weeks. We're just closing down the first week. Observations, interpretations, and applications. Study these 3 important guidelines. Also discuss the guidelines with your learning partner. Then select a topic of interest on the first 4 weeks reading list. I'm going to give you week number 4 when you come back at home, not here. Next week on the Moodle environment, you can see the material on week number 4, all right? You do not need to come back, all right? I just want to make sure you have holiday next week. And then, when you believe you understand what this means, click on the online discussion group, forum link, okay? This is the second thing you need to do with your learning partner. Again here, with the OIA, observations, interpretations, and applications. But this set of OIA is supposed to help you to engage your learning partner for discussions, to deepen your understanding on the topic of interest you select. So the first set of OIA with respect to your journals is somewhat like the rules you need to follow to take notes. Here is another set of OIA. You can consider that these are the rules you have to follow in order to engage your learning partner for discussions. All right? We're going through the first 3 to 4 weeks with a specific theme in mind, and that is called IBL, Inquiry-Based Learning. And IBL could mean many things to many different people. I've invited you to put some thinking into it, but in the context of this course, learning to learn, okay, involve your understanding of these OIA and put them into practice in your learning something new. And when you do that with your learning partner, it's so much better. Okay, having said that, pay a visit to this link. Where do you get this? Go to day number 1 and come back here on night activity, and you can see those pages on your own. Okay? Okay, it's time to go. Exactly, we need to take attendance. All right? Thank you very much for coming back. So today, it's Johnson, you're here. Yudong, are you here? Yudong, you're not here today. Star, you're here. Okay, Yudong, you're here. Thank you very much. Canada, you're here. Thank you. Terry is not here today. Okay. And then Iris, thank you. Andy, thank you. Christina, thank you. Gabriella, thank you. All right. So Sonia, thank you. Tina, thank you. Cleo, thank you. Joey, thank you. Winnie, thank you. All right. So Xiao Hui, thank you. Danny, thank you. And then Nicholas, thank you. Galler, thank you. Blue, thank you. Karim, not here yet. Ming Xuan, not here today. Okay. Louise, thank you. Raymond, thank you. Steve, thank you. Levine, okay, not here today. All right, let's save the attendance here. Okay. Second page. Serenia, thank you. Muffin, thank you. Thread, not here today. Michelle, thank you. Okay, you're Fred. All right. Fatima is not here today. Heidi, thank you. Karen, thank you. Erica, thank you. Yoga, thank you. Gabriel, thank you. Brincy, thank you. Ada, thank you. Steve, thank you. Gia, thank you. Kant, thank you. Hannah, thank you very much. Have a very, very happy Chinese New Year. Go hey time. All right, I see you back here after the holiday. Read the online Moodle environment for your homework, okay? Okay, that's it for today. CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy, day number 6, before the Chinese New Year holiday. Okay.